Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Westmoreland records second double murder for the new year. Renowned businessman James Solomon is dead. And later in sports, USL club to cease operations in 2022. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. Up first, there's been a sharp increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations in Jamaica amid the fourth wave of the virus. 172 persons are now admitted with the respiratory illness, up from 137 on Sunday. There are 20 persons are severely ill, while 4 are critically ill. There are now 3,467 active cases of COVID-19 on the island. In the meantime, there have been 385 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours from 1,111 samples. Now this brings the overall case count to 96,331. The positivity rate now stands at 40.6%. 2 deaths were confirmed yesterday, pushing the death toll to 2,479. In the meantime, 127 more people have also recovered from the virus, increasing the recovery count to 66,064. To other news, the Jamaica Employees Federation says its members have not started to see any significant impact of the fourth wave on staff. This comes as the number of COVID-19 cases in Jamaica continues to rise. President of the Federation, David One, spoke to O'Shane Masters.
It's affecting us, but not to a great extent. The word from the Jamaica Employees Federation as the island has started to feel the effects of the fourth wave of COVID-19. Data from the Health Ministry have revealed that over 100 people have been hospitalized from the respiratory illness following the holiday period. But despite that increase, President of the Federation, David One, is looking ahead. He argues that as the fourth wave drags on, it will not be too troubling for his members.
I spoke to one of our large members this morning, and they reported 1% of the workforce is out sick due to flu-like symptoms. So thus far, the impact is not significant yet. I mean, even without the COVID, I think any given day, if you go to a large company, you'd probably find 1 to 2% persons out with some kind of illness.
As for supply issues,
the information we're getting is that the supply chain issues may take several more months to be worked out, because you can't bring back certain things suddenly if demand went away during COVID. For example, some of the airline people who were laid off went on to find other occupations, and it's not easy to recall people who have gone on and found other types of work. And aircraft and air transport is a part of supply chains.
In the meantime, he believes there might have to be some revisions of orders which were announced by the government last year. One such is the no more lockdown announcement by the Prime Minister.
I think the figure to look at in terms of calling for a lockdown would be if the rising number of cases is giving an exponential rise in number of hospitalizations and deaths also. So I think it's hard to say. It's unfolding as we speak. I believe it is not hard and fast. If the numbers start to get dramatically higher and the hospitalizations start to get significantly higher, I believe there'll be a reevaluation. But remember, the decision to remove the work from home mandate was made in a period when we're having 30 and 40 new infections per day, which was very small, very manageable.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ.
The Transport Ministry says Jamaicans will be feeling the full force of the law this year with changes to the Road Traffic and Transport Authority Acts. 2021 went down in history as the deadliest year on the island's roads. Kalisha Williams reports.
The statistics are grim. Between December 25 to December 30, 2021, 22 Jamaicans died in road crashes, pushing the number of road fatalities for 2021 to 482. Now, according to data from the Road Safety Unit, the figure represents the highest number of road fatalities in 1 year in Jamaica since 1993, when there were 434 road deaths.
We have to take the matter of road safety seriously. It is everybody's responsibility, but a lot of people are acting as if it is only the government's responsibility. It is your responsibility. 34% of our road fatalities have occurred after curfew.
Speaking in St. Mary Friday evening, Transport Minister Robert Montague said the data illustrate the scant regard that some Jamaicans have for the road traffic laws.
It means that people are breaking the curfew. We have seen a 15% increase in single car accidents that have fatalities. So persons are driving faster, persons are driving under the influence of alcohol and other drugs. And we are saying to persons, take it easy on the road. But since you cannot hear, we have been saying and saying and saying for years, but since you can't hear, you're going to have to feel.
Mr. Montague stressed that as of this month, Jamaicans will begin to feel the full effect of the new Road Traffic and Transport Authority Acts.
The legislative changes will increase the fines, will make some items criminal that are not criminal. For example, issuing false or fraudulent documents would be a very serious offense. We have now linked the issuance of ticket, the issuance of your passport, the issuance of driver's license, and we have linked it to your TRN, and that will sort out the database that as you have more than X amount of tickets, there are certain services that will be curtailed or you will be deprived of.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
To other news now, 4 persons were shot and injured on St. John's Road in St. Catherine some minutes after 9 o'clock Monday night. It's not clear at this time what led to the shooting. However, it's understood that 2 persons were shot in the foot, 1 in the hand, and the other was shot in the head. 3 of the men were treated and released from hospital, while the man shot in the head has been transferred to another hospital. Investigations are ongoing into the incident. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. 2 brothers are dead in the second double murder for the parish of Westmoreland this year. The deceased men have been identified as Dervan and Sheldon Jones, both of Petersfield. Both men were in their early 40s. It's understood that both men were drinking behind their house when they were ambushed and killed by gunmen some minutes after midnight. However, their bodies were not discovered until approximately 5 o'clock this morning. The family believes their death was due to a case of mistaken identity. And a 61-year-old vendor was last night chopped to death over goods. It's understood that the altercation developed between Leonard Morgan, a farmer, and Garrett Gray, both of Brighton District in St. Elizabeth, about 8 o'clock. According to the residents, the argument surrounded the sale of goods.
I understand they must sell him some load, like pumpkin, the market, and the man must have hold the next bread of the rent. Yes, Papa, the house here, you know, right in St. Liv. So, the young man must have give him the money for rent, and can't give him no for him money when he get for the load when he sell him.
It's understood that Mr. Morgan, who is of unsound mind, attacked Mr. Gray, who ran from his house. Mr. Gray was chased by Mr. Morgan, who chopped him in his neck and on his hand. Mr. Gray died on the spot.
No, me say me shock when time me here. That's all. Cause he body me shock. And I first it happened I hear. And Garnet is a good man. And Garnet is a good man.
Now, while the police were processing that scene, they received a call that Mr. Morgan's house was on fire. A fire unit from the Black River Fire Department extinguished the blaze. Mr. Morgan's body was found in the rubble. Now, this is the first murder in the parish for 2022. However, the police have not determined whether Mr. Morgan's death is a reprisal, as they are not sure if the fire was caused by arsonists or by the victim himself. Reactions this afternoon to the death of renowned businessman James Solomon. He was 82 years old.
The former president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce died early this morning. He served as chairman of the board of directors of the University of the West Indies, UHWI. Information reaching TVJ News is that Mr. Moss Solomon died at the UHWI. He had recently undergone surgery.
I spoke with him as recently as a week and a half ago, and he was telling me about, he's going in for the surgery. He was very upbeat about it, going in. He felt very confident about it, but he said it's something that was ailing him and he had to do it. I have very fond memories of Jimmy.
The last time I spoke to him I was actually returning a call he made. He wanted to talk to me about something, and when I called him back, he couldn't remember what he wanted to talk to me about, but we spoke about other things, other national issues.
He was considered a stalwart of the Grace Kennedy Group, where he was a senior executive for several decades. He was also the founding director of the Grace Kennedy Foundation.
When you speak about Jimmy, the terms that come to mind is an unquestionable patriot. His patriotism and commitment to a better Jamaica is in every statement, in every profession, and every comment he makes. He has been an unequivocal champion of the downtrodden.
He was an icon of industry and commerce. Getting his roots in at Grace Kennedy, but then expanding beyond that into the University Hospital of the West Indies, which he was a chairman. So he contributed in all facets of life.
James Moss Solomon was affectionately known as Jimmy.
What can I say? Much respect, Jimmy. We all love you, and we're going to miss you.
Codian Barrett, TVJ News.
Further afield, U.S. authorities have arrested Colombian Mario Palacios for his alleged involvement in the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse. According to Reuters, Mr. Palacios will make an initial court appearance today. Now, Mr. Palacios is a former member of the Colombian military who Haitian authorities say was part of a mercenary group that assassinated Mr. Moïse in July. He's scheduled to make an initial appearance in federal court in Miami this afternoon. And it's now time for the Business Minute with Codian Barrett.
In the world of finance, business coach and the founder of Market Lead USA, Yannick Page, is urging startups in Jamaica to carefully choose their source of capital, given the current trends in the banking system.
Debt financing is not necessarily the way to go, right? You don't want to start a business trying to get a loan. But generally, for most types of businesses, what you want to do is to make sure that you are looking at possibly equity financing, and also if you're able to finance the business from and this is the way of the world right now, right? Getting your customers to finance your business by, in many cases, placing those getting them to place pre-orders and delivering before time and managing your cash flow in that way.
And in business internationally, U.S. technology giant.
Time now for the top regional and international stories with O'Shane Masters.
The Caribbean community CARICOM has condemned the armed attack on Haiti's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, and urged Haitian authorities to address this prevailing untenable security situation with urgency. According to police reports, at least one person was killed and several others injured as Mr. Henry and his entourage left a church service on Sunday that was held to commemorate the country's 218th anniversary of political independence. Barbados' two major political parties have nominated 60 candidates to contest the January 19 snap general election announced by Prime Minister Mia Mottley last week. Apart from the ruling Barbados Labour Party BLP and the opposition Democratic Labour Party DLP, candidates representing 5 other political parties and 9 independents will contest the elections. A total of 108 candidates will vie for the 30 seats in the parliament. In the last general election, the BLP won all 30 seats, crushing the then DLP government.
And we now head to a quick break. When we come back, Simon Preston will have the Midday Sports.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. With Austin Bold FC in the United Soccer League becoming dormant, head coach and former reggae boy Ryan Thompson is expressing disappointment to the news that the franchise won't return this year. With the emergence of Major League Soccer club Austin FC in the area, the USL franchise Austin Bold FC have been hampered financially with less fans turning up. The owners have made the decision to seek a new venue for the club, but the approval will not be ready until 2023. Thompson reflected on his time with the team.
The most important thing for me was the opportunity to provide opportunity for my fellow countrymen. While I was here, while I'm here still, we had Jermaine Taylor, we have Owen Garden, Nathaniel, we have Nick Hines, we had Demar Phillips got an opportunity to come here, Cian McFarlane. So we, throughout my tenure here, we had like 6 or 7 Jamaican players.
Thompson, who was a member of Jamaica's squad that finished second at the 2015 edition of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, admits there is no guarantee he'll be back as head coach in 2023.
Between now and 2023, it's a long time. I'm not going to sit and get my hopes up like, I want to do this. It's known that it's just 2.5 hours from Austin. I would love that opportunity to continue to be the head coach, but then it's not just one owner decision. There's 2 other new owners in that have to make that decision. So, either way, I know there will be a role.
In the interim, Thompson has started his UEFA B coaching license, while Adama Lekon is continuing to seek opportunities in North America. Tennis Jamaica says the delegation to the Junior Pan American Games in Colombia last month was fully under the control of the Jamaica Olympic Association. John Chin, who was Jamaica's only tennis representative at the Games, was not able to participate in his event as he was not informed by the delegation of the day and the time of his match. In addition, Chin was withdrawn from the event after the head of delegation found